don't think we checked anything, right? Check.
Hello. Test.
Check. Hello and welcome. Okay. Check your levels again.
Check. Hello.
Oh,
Good morning.
Okay. Do you want to just start or you want to wait? Good morning.
No, we can start.
We're not recording yet, so.
Oh.
That's
Hello.
what I mean.
Check. Can you turn? Hello. No, that's fine.
I can't turn anything up in your ears if that's what you're wanting.
No, that's fine.
It won't work. Good morning.
Hola. Good morning. Brittany, Sammy.
It's so dark, I can't see it.
Yeah, no. Oh,
Can you lighten it up without messing it up, though?
I will try. Oops.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sleep.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, Josh. I saw you were in Florida. What's up, buddy?
Sunny Florida.
Quite the difference from the Great White North. Canada. Oops. Oh, okay. There.
Yo,
Tony.
Okay, are we ready?
A healer in the making. Aren't we all? Okay.
Are we all?
Should
Okay. We're doing something different this morning, which we'll talk when we start the thing, but it's going to be totally different and it might be super uncomfortable. Do you want me to explain it on the thing or now?
Probably on the thing is better.
Okay.
Hey Brad, what's up? 80 degrees before 9 a.m.
Oh!
Yeah, just wait till the humidity hits.
Oh, that's my nightmare.
It'll be 90 degrees with 90 humidity.
At 9 a.m.
At 9 p.m.
I don't think I can do that. I could do it, I just don't want to do that. Okay, we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here wait, we need our days, right?
It's day 71.
And 288, so that isn't going there.
You can leave it there. Oh. Yeah.
I just don't want to say it. Just don't say that.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right, here we go.
I titled it Clearing Structure in Real Time.
Oh, okay.
At least on Facebook, so.
Totally have to burp and don't want to start the thing yet. Excuse me. Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
Okay. Hello and welcome to the Anatomy of Marriage podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
Good morning. My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and today is day 71 of 100 days of AOM Q&A. And today we're doing the clearing structure in real time.
If you're new here, welcome. We are on episode 288 of the Anatomy of Marriage podcast, and we made this show because marriage is not as easy as it seems, and lots of marriage resources are not that great. So that's why we made this show. And as always, today's show is brought to you by Audible. You can get a free audiobook on us if you visit audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage. Mm-hmm. And we love audiobooks. We read them all the time. We use them constantly. So we want that same educational access for you. So visit audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage and get a free audiobook.
That's right. Free, people.
We are also live on Facebook and Instagram every time that we record our show. So you can join us there at around 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Every day of the week, every weekday. Right?
All right, let's catch a review here. Okay, review of the day. 5 stars from Daydreaming 1983. 5 stars. Trying to keep my marriage strong. I myself was looking for ways to help my marriage. I was looking for a podcast that could help me with the ways of thinking and learning tools to help me talk with my husband. I myself have a hard time expressing my feelings without anxiety and shutting down. I'm glad I was able to find this podcast and still continue working on myself and my marriage.
Good review. Thank you. I'm glad that you're working on yourself and your marriage.
That's
awesome.
Right, because it begins with yourself. And that's, I guess, a perfect review because we're not answering questions today, so I misspoke earlier. It's not a Q&A. It is a clearing structure in real time.
Well,
today.
It's Q&A for ourselves. So we are currently in a very struggly season of our whole family, meaning parenting has been really challenging. We're in transition. If you followed the show, you know we sold our home. We're buying property that wasn't for sale. So there's like everything that you could do in like your life that you change. We're doing it all at one time. We hired a coach to change things. We school hasn't quite started yet. So like every possible seasonal
routine
change
is not happening.
Yeah.
It's been the summer, so it's been obviously a little loose and less structured, and we're finding it very, very difficult. And I was thinking of this: if someone wrote in with a question like of our situation, I'd be like, "You guys need to go see a couples therapist." Is probably what I would tell them.
Oh.
Most likely. I just thought of that. So today we're going to do the clearing structure, and we talked about it back and forth. I was like, I kind of don't want to do the show because I'm not it not even in a right headspace. That's not it. It's just like
we need to focus on us.
I can't be present with other people's questions. I need to focus on our stuff. And we're like, do we want to talk without recording it? And I was like, well, we can record it. That's fine. We're not going to answer many questions if you guys are like chiming in on stuff, and we're not ignoring you. We're just like, okay, let's talk about our own stuff today.
Well, and we thought a good option for this would, like, we have things we actually need to work out. So we said, should we just not do the show today and talk about this stuff, or should we try to do the show and work out our issues with the clearing structure? Because we don't often do that. And so this is like a forced function of better communication anyway. This is like, this might be better for us to do than just talk by ourselves. So that's what we're doing. When we say we're doing the clearing structure, we're doing it for our actual lives right now in real time, in relationship to real things that are going on. So this is not like staged weirdness.
And I guess in real time, I would still like to read the comments if you guys have like, whoa, wait a minute, that was crazy what you just said, Seth, or like Melanie, if that's not true or whatever. I guess we're asking for we're not asking, but if you're like, whoa, that was weird, or like, hey, good point, say it. And it's not like a siding thing. It's like, okay, we want some, I guess, insight into stuff. So when you said clearing structure, I was like, I know I have something to talk about. I don't know what, but I actually thought of two things.
Okay, so you can start then if you want.
Okay, so if you guys don't know the clearing structure, it's a resource, and it focuses on I statements. So I'm not going to be blaming Melanie for anything. I'm just going to be talking about her actions or not actions and how I feel about that, what I want for myself, and why I would like things to be different, kind of thing. Hopefully you're already familiar with the clearing structure. So
also, if you're new, you can get to the clearing structure at anatomyofmarriage.com. It's a free downloadable PDF that's fillable. So we are going through one of our actual tools. We use the clearing structure. We give it away for free on our website. You can download it and you can do it in your own relationship, but that's what we're using. So sorry, I just want to really clarify that.
Right. So, okay, number one, let me see.
Read it though, because people can't see it.
Okay, number one, it says, when you, and then it's behavior specific, don't return my call, I feel. And then number 3 is what I make up about that is you don't care about me. That's an example. What that reminds me of is number 5, what I want from you is. And then number 6, what I want for myself is to not or do a certain thing.
I meant one at a time. Like go start.
So number 1, I think when you get like hyper focused on business stuff, like I thought of this last night, you are mostly business, like not the podcast business, not the thing. It's like you're more task focused and like now I'm combining things like last night I made like supper, something that you asked for me to make, and then like you ate and you were like you just ate and then you got it from the table and went into our room, and I was like, what's going on? And you literally didn't say anything, and I was just like, okay, I'm just wondering. And it's not like you can't do that or whatever, but it made me feel like, hey, what's going on? Because that's not a typical response. You know, you just don't eat supper, not say anything, and then get up and go and shut the door to your room. You know, I'm like, okay, something's going on. I'm not sure
what it is. Well, I didn't shut the door.
Well, you got on your computer and was doing stuff. I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on. And then I felt, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel hurt. I just felt like not communicated with. And I felt that that reminds me, let's see, what I make up about that is like, oh, well, that's just weird. I guess like felt taken for granted, you know, and it just felt off. I was like, something's, I don't know. It's like going to a restaurant, not talking to the waiter or waitress, and then getting up and leaving without paying. And I don't know. It's just it's a weird feeling. And what I make up about that is, it's like, okay, something's up. I'm not sure what's going on. What that reminds me of is, I don't know, the other times that you've been like mad and kind of given the silent treatment, and you don't talk and you just do stuff. And what I want from you is like a different level of communication of something, like, hey, do you mind if I go do this? Or like, hey, I gotta finish this thing for our coach real quick, and I'll come right back and help clean up after dinner or something. And what I want from myself is to, I guess, feel appreciated in those times. And I guess that's a one way to go through it from last night. And the other thing that I kind of touched on is like
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
I don't think we should go to the other one next.
Okay.
Can I respond to the first one, or that not what you want to do?
No, I think you can respond.
What was the very first thing you said? When I do what? What was the behavior?
When
I do what? Like
when you're like all business and like you don't communicate about stuff. Like I can think of a lot of examples. Sometimes you just go to bed without saying anything, which is fine if you're in a whatever. If you need that space, I don't care. But like a communication about it. Sometimes like when we wake up in the morning, or like when we like come back together after hours apart or whatever, you just like right into business mode, and it's not that doesn't build relationship. And I don't think that you are thinking about relationship. We always say that relationship, there's a bunny down there. I have a relationship with a bunny. We always say that relationship is the most important thing, and when like we're hyper focused on business, and I know that this comes from your family of origin because your dad was never ever there, and I think that you really have a lot of those tendencies, and it's fine, you get stuff done, but it doesn't build relationship. Like first thing in the morning, it's like task. When I get home, it's tasks, and I understand that you're like have to do these things, but I would like to see more like relationship in that. Like I don't care, you can have all the space you want, so I'm not saying that. I know that's been an issue before. You can do whatever you want to. I don't care really. You can do whatever you want to. If you want to go walk with your friend or do this or do that, that's fine. But I want you to see that those things, the way that you say them or do them or act them out, task is not relationship building. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, So that's how I feel about it, and I don't want that anymore. You can be as task oriented and type A as you want to, but building the relationship, I believe, is far more important. It's like just no foreplay and just diving right into sex. There's no relationship around that, It's like that's what I want from you.
Okay. So I appreciate that that's like you're conveying this or communicating it in a clear way. And I'm not going to try to go back in and say, well, this is what I was really doing when I once sat on my computer, and this is what I was really thinking, and you misinterpreted that. Like, that's not what I'm going to try to do. Because I had this moment of realization when you were speaking that in my, let me think of it like this. So when I walk with with our neighbor and my best friend, and she and I talk about all these different things, and the things that you're communicating to me is that it feels like you are compartmentalizing the different aspects and elements of a day or a relationship or what it needs to be done in raising kids or whatever. Like you're going, okay, this is the time when you clean, this is the time when you work, this is the time when you kiss and hug, and this is the time when you confess your undying love, and this is the time that you go swimming. Like you're pocketing them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so when I hear you saying that, what strikes me as being significant is that what I would prefer is that you saw those moments, and that we could blend them, if that makes sense. So let me try to find an example of this. It's confusing, but like in the morning when I wake up, I feel stupid, like legitimately stupid, being like, good morning, Seth. I slept next to you in the bed all night. Like we're still in the same room. I feel dumb going like, good morning, honey. Like that just feels weird to me. But I talk to you in the morning. I don't ignore you. I don't ever give you the silent treatment. And so even you saying when I give you the silent treatment, I'm like, what is he talking about? I don't do that. I'm just more quiet than you in a particular way, because I feel like those declarations of like overt, like, and now I'm showing you that I love you, feels silly to me, because to me it's all melded together. I show you I love you by tasks, doing laundry, helping with things, being present, being, what's the word?
I think you're showing me through your love language, because all those are acts of service, and that's what you like.
Yeah, but also consistency. But please hear me. I don't want it to be mine versus yours. I want it to be ours. I want it to be mui. I'm trying to find how we find mui the fastest. Because, yeah, love languages are very important in this conversation, but they're also not where I want to land and focus our energy. I want to figure out what we can do together to get it so that it's mutually satisfying and mutually rewarding. So when I'm saying all of that, like what you find meaningful, I'm quoting air quotes there, is like you take me out on a special date, usually somewhere you want to go, like the bakery, right? And you go, this will really show Melanie that I love her. It's your love language, right? But in my world, that's showing me I'm irresponsible with money. I don't care about our diet. I don't care about gas or who's watching our kids. It immediately pops up like 4 or 5 things where I'm like, this is not responsible. It goes against exactly the things that I value relationally and just in adults in general. Like, I'm responsible. I think about things before I do them. I am thoughtful about stuff. I can delay gratification for a very specific goal. So what's very hard about that is the thing that you're telling me you would prefer when you say, like, I want things to be more relational. Your version of relational and my version of relational are really not the same thing. It's, so here, let me lay it out this way. If you told me, Melanie, tell me what relational means in our marriage, like what would a relational connection look like? I'd be like, oh, yes. Okay, let me tell you. You come home from work, you don't ask me what needs to be done. You immediately, if there's shoes in the hallway, you just put them in the closet. No big deal. You don't tell me that you put them in the closet. You just do it. You check the kids if they've done their homework. You talk to the kids about stuff. You say, oh, Mariner, I see you're playing the Switch for too long. Let's put the Switch down. Like, there's this sort of, like I've said before, arms linked togetherness, but also it's an exchange of positive energy towards a shared goal that is literally just in the trenches. Like, you're, and I don't mean that negatively, like you're just in there doing all the things that is required of a parent.
Right. I think that I've heard you when you have said that before, and I do those things, like, you know, I do those things, right? And it doesn't make a difference in how you are relational to me.
Well, and
you understand?
I will
like,
say,
I can come home and do all those things. Like, I come home and
so
cook
here's
supper and
what's
check
interesting
in.
is that is exactly what my clearing structure thing was for you. Is that there is this. So let's maybe put
it's like this. You're getting the part of relational because I'm doing what you're asking for, but you are not really different, right? So I'm not feeling in relationship to you.
Again, one of the main things.
Do you understand that?
Yeah, but one of the main things I said at the bottom, or I have it for my clearing structure notes, is consistency. You tend to do what you are terming my version of relational for like a day. And then you're like, well, where are all the results? And then, and this is literally my clearing structure thing for you, is that there's this, what's the word? Like a judgment and hold on, what's the word? You are internalizing, you are personally internalizing and making something like laundry be about your feelings. When laundry is, it's just a thing that needs to be done. It's not about my feelings or your feelings or the kids' feelings. It's a task that needs to be done. And then somehow it becomes, if I tell you to do the laundry as opposed to me doing the laundry, it becomes this like, well, doesn't she see what I do? Like, it becomes this, I have to read what I wrote because I think it's helpful. Like, you're perceiving, yeah, here we go. Like, you're perceiving the tension of doing the right thing, meaning just the crap that's got to be done. Laundry, dishes, sweeping, buying groceries, whatever. You're perceiving that tension, like Cody said, our coach said, just do what you say you're going to do. But what happens is you do what you say you're going to do for maybe a day and a half, but the tension of that then makes you upset at me. It without fail. So you're perceiving the tension of doing the right thing, and in this case, it would be just. So when I say right, I mean it's just a thing that has to happen, like filling your car with gas, making money to pay your mortgage. It just has to happen, right? So you're perceiving the tension of doing that, and it's boring, it's annoying, it's not fun, it's not exciting, it's not a bakery, there are no scones, and you're perceiving that tension, and then you're turning it into a personal insult, as if I said, as if I was the chore queen and made you do that, like. And why I'm bringing that up, again, that is my thing for you.
So
clearing structure.
I know that like we had a coaching session, and this has happened. We've done this before, and I would definitely like to say that I do things much longer than a day and a half or whatever, right? Like I do things that like, okay, you specifically said, like I need this, and I need that, right? And I guess I need a list of my own things and for you to do every day. Too, that would probably be helpful. But I feel like I can do that list of 5 things every day, and you literally are the same. And I'm not looking for like a great huge thank you. It's like, no, okay, if something's dirty, clean it, right? It's not my responsibility. It's not more of mine. It's not more of yours, right? Just do it, kind of thing. However, you were saying that like, oh, if you do these things, we will have increased relation or whatever.
I'm definitely not. I never said that.
You're left,
I think you.
No, you
have.
You have said that. You have said it a lot. You said if you want to have more sex, do X, Y, Z. If you want to have more, relational time, do X, Y, Z. Do these things, right? But the if you want to have X and I do these things, the X never comes for you, because if you're left to your own things, I really think, and this has been evidence for a really long time, you're like business, straight up business, and it's just like, it's family of origin, it's like your dad, it's like you go, you know what I'm saying? It's like task, and then you're like, and your love language is getting filled because like acts of service or whatever, so it's like you don't even, it's not even a blip on your radar kind of thing, and I'm like, and I do not think, well, I'm doing all this stuff, why isn't she doing anything? I'm like, I'm doing all this stuff because I should be doing all this stuff and all the other stuff that I do with work or whatever. But it's like, hey, Melanie's
Let me show
nothing.
you, let me use a visualization, like an analogy here. So like what I think of is going on is like a raft in water, right? Like a big square raft, like Huck Finn style. When you get it off center, it tips one direction, and then all your crap falls into the lake, right? Mm-hmm. What I think is happening is that it takes, because this is not something that, like you have ADD, you overload your plate as a means of coping because you enjoy doing and going from this, and that. And that's fine. I'm not judging that, but that has its own, like you're chasing the dopamine rush of being late for something, having to cram and do it the night before. Like that's its own dopamine rush of, oh, it's exciting, even though it's not super healthy or balanced, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm asking you to help balance the raft of our like marriage and family, just dynamics, like how our house runs and all of those things. And you don't like that. It doesn't feed that dopamine rush, right? It's boring in your eyes. And then you go, and she's not even giving me more sex, right? Like your brain.
No, I don't.
But because let's break this down more. I want to add in another layer here, because the other thing on my notes for the clearing structure is that you're not bringing a solution. So step one of getting the raft to be straight is how do we go from like this is your task, this is mine, to we, you, me, we. Mm-hmm. How do we make it like this is our joint goal, this is our joint effort, this is how we're doing this thing together and how we're going to overcome it or whatever. That's step one. Mm-hmm. And then step two is that you think that's all the steps. I often see you like if you will say, let's get in bed early, which is your code for I want to have sex. Nothing follows that statement. Mm-hmm. So you say, well, I've cleaned a toilet. I told her I want to get in bed early. And then you sit on your computer, watch a show, sit in bed, or go to bed. So it's all sort of part of this bigger, almost a strategy. Let's look at it like a strategy. That helps me to understand it. There's a long-term goal that we want. It's open communication. It's feeling like we're both equally met and understood. We can do our own individual things, but also we're communicating our needs and our desires in a way that's effective, clear, and kind. And that's where I feel like your ability to not be judgmental stops. Like you can't look at your like you think if I scrub the toilet, I've done all the things Melanie wanted. No, you only have helped correct the ship or the raft or whatever. That's literally step one. And it's like our coach said, it's not sexy. It's like just boring. You gotta just do it. It's like taking the garbage out, right? And that's the first step. That's not the only step. But then you're so busy getting upset about the first step. And I don't mean like you're a crazy crybaby. I'm not saying that. But it immediately goes out of the realm of, I'm doing this for a goal. I have a vision. This is on purpose. This is good. It goes out of that realm and into, she doesn't appreciate me. See, she still didn't say good morning like my mom does or whatever. Like,
it's not so much of that, because that makes it sound like, hey, I picked up something. I'm looking for you to be like, thumbs up. It's not that. It is not that whatsoever. It's like really hard to explain the amount of like emotional unrelatability that you have, that you don't see, and that you just assume kind of things.
Well,
and it's really
but let me say
frustrating and really annoying.
Let me say this really quick. I hear what you're saying, and I hear you saying you are missing some sort of social relatability. I can hear that and accept that. But what I would suggest beyond that is, again, like you come up, that's one of my things is you're not bringing a solution. Don't tell me my deficit. Tell me what you need to get you where you want to be with me. So don't tell me my deficit. Obviously, I'm not going to make up for it by knowing it. I mean, in a way, like you've told me 1,000 times, you don't do X, Y, and Z enough. Okay, what do you want me to do? And I've asked you that for probably 7 or 10 years. What do you actually want me to do? And then you never actually answer that. You fall short of it. You go, well, I'll think of it later or whatever. And if you want these things, advocate for them. Make a note. Like, you see my notes all over this house. There's paper with things written all over them. Those are the ways I advocate for any change that I want, whether that's relational, with parenting, with diet, with anything.
Right.
You know, like the sign that says respect. Or
part of it is like saying what I want is, from a 9's perspective, is difficult, but part of it to get over that, and I wrote down like 12 things of growth areas that I need, and I wrote this down yesterday, and part of that is sitting in the uncomfortable and being like assertive. So I need to think about it for a minute, and like but then also like I have reservations because it's like I can tell you what I need, and then when it doesn't happen I let you know, and then you turn it back around and say, well, I'm not perfect. How do you want me to be? You want me to change? I can't change. And then we go down that whole thing.
Well,
like, I'm not saying that.
So
you know?
let's talk. Just figure that out. This is, in my view, very simple. Write it on use the way that I learn. Sheets of paper hanging on a wall with a marker on them. Use the way that I learn to communicate it to me. You telling me something once never will help. It will never stick. My brain doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense, because then you can't read stuff. So
it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't help the way that I. It's not even that it doesn't help. It's wise to think of putting it in a language that makes sense to me, and me putting stuff in a language that makes sense to you, right? So maybe that's just a skill we're saying, let's figure out how to acquire that skill together. So
I have an idea that's kind of switching stuff around. So you guys have obviously watched this whole thing for 26 minutes. Do you have any insight? Constructive criticism, not Seth, you're an idiot, Mel, you're a B, because that's not helpful. But like, did you guys observe anything? My Auntie Peggy says, look at each other when you're talking to each other, listen. That's good. Like reflective listening, like actually eye contact is a good thing. It's turning towards, not turning away. So if you guys do have anything, throw it out there. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Michelle Ray Bailey? I don't know if you had anything more of that. I drank a ton of water too, so might want to cut it short, but what do you think?
Well, I had a lot more that I want to talk about, but if you need to go to the bathroom, that's fine. Awkward.
Well, who cares about awkward?
But I do want to say, like, another element that really is a huge factor here is the dynamic in our home with our kids. Like one thing that's really huge for you to see is it feels like I'm drowning because I'm the only one who can maintain homeostasis with our middle kid, the only one who can solve his conflicts. I spend literally hours solving his conflict literally every day. So when you say you said it like kind of offended, like you just need alone time. I don't.
Like you need alone time?
You said it earlier in the beginning of the podcast, like in a weird way.
No. If you want to go, literally, if you want to do anything, like, okay, so I can say, yeah, I want to go hunting, I want to go rock climbing, I want to go work out, I want to go swimming into the river by myself. I want to do those things, right? Alone.
No. Just hold on. I'm not saying that. So what I wrote down is you are misinterpreting my personal exhaustion as a relational issue that I need to solve. Like you are legit not seeing, like the whole thing that you've just went through of how you're feeling and I'm just tasks and I'm whatever. It's because I'm drowning.
Right.
And I've done, for literally all of our marriage, done almost all of the relational work, the sort of deeper, more uncomfortable relational work between you and the kids and me and the kids and the kids and the kids and our home. What's frustrating to me about that is that it's like I feel like I'm like that image in Native stuff, like the turtle, like I'm just a turtle and everything's on my back. And you're like, why aren't you nicer to me? I'm like, 'cause I'm drowning. Like you drive away in a car and go get a coffee at a shop and go talk to whoever you want, and you don't have a kid. Literally, our children radiate, or like they orbit around me constantly, literally all day long. And then the hardest part is that our child, who is hard to manage right now, in his conflict, I have to be there the whole time. I have to solve every problem, literally talk for hours at a time. And then once he feels better, he orbits me and is never more than 3 feet away from me for hours. His version of we're okay is constantly talking to me, which is fine. It's great, but it's absolutely exhausting. And I don't think you have even the slightest idea of how that literally wears down my everything, my ability to...
No, I understand, because I feel it too, like when I'm with the kids on the weekend or whatever, but I know that
But just listen to that statement, when I'm with the kids on the weekend.
Right.
There are 5 more days that you aren't with them at all. And to not factor that into the bigger picture of things feels very... are you reading something? Not factoring in the amount of time that I am with our children, the amount of need and care that our kids have, the amount of intention and education and creating plans and all of those things that I'm doing. It's like that doesn't factor in to all the things you mentioned before.
No, it does factor in.
But it only factors in when I tell you it should matter. And that's the hard part. That's that piece needs to be popped in at the very top of this conversation, and I think you would see the rest of the conversation through a different lens. But my desire would be that you would do that you would insert that knowledge at the very top and just assess things from the plural thinking self perspective, the you know what I mean, like the ego based singular perspective, but the plural thinking way up here level. Get into that realm of, wait, why is Melanie so task focused? Because I'm drowning in tasks and I need help. I did all of the kids' school shopping, all of their stuff for their, you didn't even know about it. You don't take the time to step into that space actively. You wait for me to tell you.
Well, let's kind of even it out, because
I'm not saying anything negative.
I know, but when you say things like you don't even know and you don't actively do it, I'm like, I could say the exact same thing about the house stuff. Like half of my brain is like, okay, I got to get tax statements from this and all this stuff.
I understand that, and that's why I don't.
I'm not like not present with you, and I'm not saying you don't even know anything about the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, what if I say this? Like, us getting the house is like literally, absolutely, 100% completely my doing, right? like you've signed a paper and that's all you've done. You don't have to read anything. I explained it to you, right? And that's fine, right? And like getting the school stuff is 100% your thing. You know, if you need help with it,
but let
definitely
me say
ask,
this
right?
way.
But it's like you're upset because I don't even know about
I'm not
it.
upset.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I think is important for you to understand. You saying getting the house is literally, I did it all by myself. You know why? You didn't ever bring it to me.
Mm-hmm.
You went to banks alone. You didn't tell me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to the bank and I'm here with the kid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I could have been a part of all of that process and would have happily done it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do something that you take out of my hands and go and do on your own. So that in and of itself is something it's a pattern you have. You always talk about everything's easier to do alone.
Mm-hmm.
I can do anything by myself. Yeah, it's way easier to do everything by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that when you literally have no children, no spouse with you, whatever. But that doesn't mean I didn't want to be a part of it. You did everything alone. And I wasn't even able to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm talking about kids' school stuff, that's like, I'm not concerned about how hard it is for me to buy school supplies, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm more talking about the relational element of like Mariner's going to middle school. You're going to be gone on his orientation. That's sad. Like, but then you act like I should have been the one to tell you. You have access to everything that says the date of his orientation. It's on the paperwork you got at the end of last year. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like there's a level of like, you pull things away, you go away and then wonder why you're alone almost. And then don't ask for help and then say, see, I did it all alone, but you never asked for help. You didn't want me there is how that felt. But I'm saying I'd like help. This is a family thing. I want you to know what classes your kid's going into and how many books he needs and does he need earbuds or not. And like that is a relational thing that you're treating like the way you treat how you do things alone. Does that make sense? And again, I will really reiterate, just stating something does not mean I'm upset. And that literally is like you're perceiving the tension of doing the right thing as an insult or a judgment of your character, and seeing the discomfort of growth is a problem. Like you don't like me just saying.
Yeah, that's one thing on my thing. It's like being comfortable with the discomfort and then like asserting yourself in that is a growth point for a 9. So hold on. I'm going to read some of these comments here. So, okay, we'll start out with,
there's a lot.
You guys are jamming. Okay. I heard something once that said it's about learning how to communicate.
And how your spouse hears. That's great.
Yep. I definitely think if you, Seth, could come together with Melanie to figure out one thing that might be a little uncomfortable but practical that Melanie can do in those times of exhaustion to show. Yeah.
To show you love or...
relationship, like your own little language or clue.
That's a really great idea.
That is a good idea. All I know is this is the exact same conversation my husband and I have constantly. I feel like we are stuck in the same conversation conflict. How would you take steps in the positive direction? So I don't want to take questions right now.
And make a change.
I really appreciate you guys having these conversations so openly on here. Like, wow, you guys are brave and helpful. It's actually uncomfortable. Thank you. So after you lay all your feelings down, do the clearing structure and ask for what you want. But things don't change. What are the next steps?
Yeah,
so, again,
I want to talk about... that's important for us to talk about, so I want to actually address that.
Okay, somebody says, I love listening to you. I love listening to you, and I would have to agree that both of you need to find a better, efficient way to communicate your needs and wants in a way that the other person gets it and sticks to it, so then future issues will be easier to resolve. That's a really good thing. My summary of this intense moment of fellowship is that Seth feels unappreciated for the work he puts in, and Melanie feels overwhelmed and doesn't have time, emotional effort to appreciate. This is very relatable. I think that is like exactly.
So let's talk about that. Actually, don't scroll.
Okay.
I think that that's really helpful to understand, because this is what I was thinking actually in bed. I try to do these meditations. I'm very bad at it, but I try to meditate when I go to sleep on like what I want tomorrow to look like, from a million different perspectives, like what I want to be with like the kids, how do I want to talk, how do I want to whatever. Is something going on? You want to but so last night I was laying in bed and I got to thinking about it, because what did we do last night? We watched that glass blowing show or something, and we were sitting there, and I thought about it. It was like there is no. So I feel like I'm having to task manage all the tasks. I guess like everything is just like a exhaustive cycle of things I've got to do, but one of the things that is not on that list of tasks to do is relate to you and have like intentional affection. It's not on your list either. So we are not prioritizing one another in that
It's
way.
on my list up here.
No, I need it to be on your actual physical to-do list. Like sit and hold hands while we watch. I mean, we could have done that. Hattie was sitting on me, but I was thinking about it like we don't, let me say it this way. The kids can sit on our laps. Don't read for a second. The kids can like come and sit on our lap or start talking to us, and we will forget everything else that was going on because we're trying to just talk to them. But what if instead of doing that, you and I said, no, this next 30 minutes or this next hour is just mommy and daddy like hanging out, talking, connecting time, whatever that looks like. It could be playing card games together, playing Mario Kart, going on a walk, just the two of us, or going on a walk and they walk behind us and we walk in front. Like we aren't prioritizing in a practical way.
It's like, I think, Chris, I agree with what you're saying.
Yes?
And it is a big element of just feeling underappreciated. It's kind of like work right now. Like I do all this stuff and like things are just wacky and I'm like, forget that. I don't even want a part of it almost. You know what I'm saying? Like feeling not underappreciated at work, but just like, this is too crazy. And like when I come home, I feel underappreciated and then like compare like the stuff that I do of like with the men that I grew up with who do nothing and stuff. And it's like I do all these things and it really is an overwhelming feeling of underappreciation. And then it's like sure, I want to hold hands with you, but if I'm the one to like reach out and hold your hand, it's like I had to think of it, and it's not. It's an interesting dynamic. But then I also understand you feeling like super overwhelmed, and like, well, how about this? We're both overwhelmed with our middle kid, right? I mean, it like
all of our kids, not just our middle kid. Our middle kid is very challenging.
Can you read that one that Aaron said, and I'll be right back? Sorry.
Oh, that's awkward.
Sorry. Drinking water.
I'm just gonna pause here. I'll edit at 40 minutes and 23 seconds the fact that Seth had to go pee. This is awkward. It is so hard to be comfortable in the discomfort. This is such a difficult season of parenting and marriage. We're in the trenches with you guys as well, with the child's behavior and figuring out who has which role. Dang it. Which roles and responsibilities. I, as a stay-at-home mom, feel Seth's frustration of being unappreciated, but Melanie's feelings of drowning are so familiar too. Putting your spouse at the top of your list, even above your children, is so hard to do, but those moments are so important for them to see too. Yes, that's what I want to do. I want to talk about how that relates to the next steps question, because that's what I think we need to do. My hubby and I just talked about this and designated us time, yes. And how it will be, And how it will be such a gift to show our children how we prioritize each other and let them see us loving each other in that way every day. In everyday moments, and not just only being romantic or loving on date nights, yes, where they don't see us. That's a great point. Also 100% relate to the overwhelm and the tired. Yes, so I think, what did you say? You called it us time. I'm going to write that down, and when Seth comes back, we will talk about it. So I'm taking notes, and I'm going to read this one again. Let's see. Yes, it's good for our kids to see us connecting. That's a huge point. Layered, clearing structure, ask for what you want. If the trunk of our relationship is strong, the branches will thrive and flourish. No plants can grow without a healthy base. That's a really great point, and I love plants. So we are reading comments here, and there was a bunch of great comments, but one of the things I wanted to talk about was they were talking about like prioritizing us time. They just established designated us time, and it says it's a gift to their children for them to see it, because otherwise they don't see their parents being loving to each other, because they go on a date and be loving, so it's not modeling that.
That's a good
intention
point.
So I think that there's 4 steps to this, maybe one more I might be missing. that, like you said, what are the next steps to make this change? So for me, step number one is kind of like a 2-in-1 step. It's stop thoughts and just.
Well, it's still recording.
Oh,
so
that was weird.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thanks guys for humoring in us in this. If you literally have any insights or anything, please, just like this show helps you, we want help from you too. So if you see anything from this, tell us. Right? Email us at hello